New videos every day.
Life, wisdom.
Hello everyone, this is Dr. Jeff Echols, and we're here today to talk a little bit about headaches. Now, I've been in practice here in South Austin for a little over 25 years, and in that time I've learned quite a bit about headaches. Today we're going to talk a little bit about what causes headaches, what you can do about them, and actually what doesn't cause headaches too. There's a big discrepancy when I talk to my patients about what they think is actually causing their headache. So, of course, headaches can be caused by a lot of different things. Unfortunately, they can be caused by sometimes by brain tumors, isn't that right? But most people don't have brain tumors. So that isn't probably the cause of your headache. When we were in school, we were taught when you have a problem, or when you hear hoof prints, when you hear hoof beats, think of horses, not zebras, because horses are a lot more common than zebras. So if you had a brain tumor, that's really a rare thing. I doubt that would happen. Of course, you know, if it persists, you may want to get that checked. However, we're going to talk about some of the more common causes of headaches. Now, when I'm talking with my patients, I'll ask them oftentimes, how often do you get a headache? And they'll say, oh, not very often. I'll say, okay, well, like once or twice a year? Or they go, oh no, I get like maybe 2 or 3 a week. And I'm just shocked. I'm like, well, that is pretty often. But I guess in their mind, that isn't very often. But I want you to know that normal, what's considered normal is about 1 to 2 headaches a year. So if you're getting more than that, that is not normal. Once a month, once every couple of weeks, that is definitely not a normal situation. So I'll also ask them how long have they been getting their headaches. Now, if they've just recently been getting them and they haven't had any in a while, I'm not going to worry about it. But if these headaches have been going on for months and months or maybe even years, then that's your body's way of telling you, you know, there's a problem and you really need to get it fixed. I think one of the problems is that people think that headaches are normal. They just think that that's a normal part of life, but they really aren't. Anytime you're having headaches, it's your body's way of telling you there's something wrong. Now, it's a kind of an amusing story. I remember I had one patient and I asked her, well, what is causing your headaches? And she says, my husband. And I thought that was kind of funny. And so we fixed her headaches after finding out what was causing them. We fixed them. And then I went to re-examine her several months later and I says, so how are your headaches? And she looked and she says, well, I haven't had any headaches. I guess they're gone. And I says, did you get divorced? And she says, no, why do you ask? I says, well, you said your headaches were caused by your husband. She gets this kind of funny look on her face and she goes, well, I guess I was wrong. So a lot of times we blame our headaches on the wrong thing. I had a guy come in today and he said that he thought so much that his head started hurting. Well, if thinking too much was to cause your headaches, I guarantee I would have a headache every day. But that isn't why people have headaches. And it's normally not your wife, nagging at you or anything like that either. It's usually caused by some sort of a problem up in the neck area or what we call the cervical spine. And that area is under a lot of stress and a lot of pressure. Now the nerves from the back, and Karina's going to help me demonstrate this, the nerves from the back of the head, the back of the neck, radiate back up into the head here. And oftentimes, and you may have heard me talk about this on other videos, the vertebra can be actually rotated or moved some way to actually cause stress and pressure there. And when that happens, it can cause pain to radiate back up into the head. Now, oftentimes those headaches are triggered by your wife nagging on you or by you thinking too much or by any one of a number of things. But those by themselves aren't enough to cause a headache. So I kind of give this analogy. Let's say you had a car and it was kind of broken down a little bit, but it would drive at about 30 miles an hour without any problem at all. You just go down the road and you would think that there wasn't a problem with your car. But as soon as you tried to go 60 miles an hour, now the car starts to shake and vibrate and make all kinds of racket and you think it's falling apart. That's the same things with our spine. As long as there's no stress on it, you may not have any symptoms at all. But as soon as you get under a little bit of stress, now you start getting headaches, you don't see good, you may be all having all these problems. So is the problem the fact that you're under stress, or is the problem that there's an issue there in the spine? It's the problem in the spine, because we're all built to be under stress. If it was just stress, I'd have a headache every day. So try not to blame your headaches on things that aren't causing them. Get your spine checked. Oftentimes it is a subluxation or a vertebra that's out of alignment in the neck area. I've got this spine right here, and you can really see here on the side, it's usually this top vertebra that's called the atlas. And I had a gentleman in my office just today, and when we touched it, it was so sore that he actually would wince in pain, and he didn't even realize that he had a problem up there. So we're going to show you how a chiropractor would go about helping somebody with headaches. And by the way, while we're talking about this, there are other things, of course, that could cause a headache. Sometimes food allergies can cause headaches. Some people are real sensitive to chocolate or maybe coffee or wheat or dairy. Some of these things can also trigger headaches and cause problems by setting up an inflammatory response in the body. So you want to make sure that the doctor that you're seeing has the ability to test you for those things and find out if that's what's causing them. But more often than not, we find that spinal issues are really the cause of headaches. And they can happen due to sitting at a desk like this all day. They can happen from sports injuries, or even automobile accidents that you had even as a kid can cause these misalignments in the spine. So unless you get it really checked by a good qualified doctor of chiropractic, you're really not going to know whether you have these misalignments in there. So again, headaches normally are caused by misalignments up in the spine. There are other things that can cause them, but oftentimes once we start to take that pressure off of the neck area, the headaches tend to really go away and pretty quickly. So we're going to show you how we would go about adjusting somebody for a headache, and hopefully you'll find that very helpful. Okay, so here we are with Miss Karina. She's going to be our beautiful model to help demonstrate this. And you know, it's perfectly safe for you or one of your family members just to kind of gently feel around up here in the neck area and see if you can find any tender spots. If you do, that's a pretty good indication that there could be, you know, a subluxation or a misaligned vertebra up in the neck area. And you don't want to push on it real hard, but you can kind of get their attention a little bit by just putting some pressure there, and they'll tell you that's kind of tender. Now, I do want to emphasize that this is something you really shouldn't try at home. This is something that, you know, I've been doing for 30 years, and you definitely don't want to attempt this at home. I'm doing this for demonstration purposes so you can kind of understand how a doctor of chiropractic would go about helping somebody with a headache. Now, the atlas, which is the very top vertebra, sits right back here, right at the base of the skull. So you'll feel the skull, and then as you drop down off the skull and put a little pressure through those muscles, you'll feel the atlas in there. And that's the top vertebra, and your brainstem actually goes down into that vertebra. And if that vertebra is torqued or twisted or misplaced in any way, it's going to put pressure on that brainstem, and that can cause one heck of a headache, especially if you get under a little bit of added stress or have some other issues going on. So what a doctor of chiropractic will do, he'll palpate, which means to kind of feel of that area there, and then once he figures out where the misalignment is, he can make a very gentle adjustment. And when that happens, it takes a lot of that pressure off, and the person will oftentimes get immediate relief. So it's very effective in helping people with headaches. Miss Karina's got her a little bit of a subluxation right here in this area, so we're just gently turning her head, and then a little bit of a click there. And you may have heard that noise there. Karina, how are you doing? That feel good?
Felt really good.
Felt really good. And oftentimes the person will relate to you that they immediately had an immediate sense of relief. Just tension. They kind of feel a wave of relaxation go through their body. It's a very pleasant experience. Wonderful. So that is one of the ways that a chiropractor can actually go about helping people with headaches. Sometimes the sinuses will be involved, so there's some acupressure points that we can hit here on the sinuses. If you're on the eyebrows here, you'll feel this little kind of a bowl or an indentation right in here. Just put some light pressure on there, and then you could gently massage these frontal sinuses here. Gently put some pressure on these sinuses right just to the side of the nose here, and then right here where the eyes meet the nose. And that can oftentimes help to relieve some pressure that's built up in there as well. So I hope this has been helpful to you. If you're having headaches, I want you to remember that they're not normal. You need to get them fixed up. You need to get them taken care of, because if they're not getting better, they're getting worse, or at least what's causing them is getting worse. So you may find more information on my website. It's www.jeffechols.com. And if we can help you in any way, please feel free to give us a call. Thanks.